Our next speakers, it's a joint presentation by Prof. Usang Assim and Dr. Robert Nanima. You are both on the event. One of you can share your screen. And then the presentation title is titled Communications Procedure of the ACERWC and Child Rights Jurisprudence in Africa, Experiences and Opportunities.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Good morning. We just go straight to it. So our title, like you can see, it's the Online Collaborative Communications Procedure. The ACERWC stands for the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. So it's one of the organs of the African Union, which largely deals with matters of children's rights and welfare, and is situated at the moment in Lesotho, Maseru in Lesotho. Now, this project is called the African Children's Project. And I just want to speak to the background of the project and how we eventually decided to use Canva, and Dr. Nanima will give you all the details of how we actually used it. It was a good experience for us, a learning curve, and we are really grateful for the opportunity. So it's a 10-year project that was scheduled to come to an end in December 2020. So we have been busy with it. In fact, as I'm speaking now, we are busy with the closeout of the project. So it's a project that has been supported by SIDA, that is the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, with about 5 consortium partners across the continent, with each one representing a sub-region. And fortunately, the La Oma Institute at the Law Faculty was chosen for the Southern Africa region. So the others they cover West Africa, East Africa, and then we also have the involvement of Plan International and Save the Children as part of the consortium. So, like I said, the project was due to come to an end in December 2020, and as we all know, COVID struck, and then one of our activities was to conduct, which is an annual thing or something we do sometimes once in 2 or 3 years, depending on the project deliverables. We usually have a workshop where we train people from on-the-ground NGOs who deal with children's rights and human rights more broadly on how to engage with the African Union Committee on these matters that affect children across the continent. So at this time with COVID, we couldn't do that. Of course, there was a lockdown. You couldn't think of anybody moving. And usually we would have about 30 participants carefully selected. But with the change, we decided to use Canva, and it became a good opportunity for us actually to democratize the work we had been doing in that aspect, because we could reach a larger audience, and we're also able to engage our students at UWC from the public law departments, those who were writing their thesis on this subject matter of the African Union, children's rights and human rights more broadly, and also engage partners, CSOs, members of the judiciary, executives at various levels to take part in the course. So the Canva was really timely for us, and we could broaden our reach of all those who could take part in the course, and it was a good experience for us, like I said. So it was one of those unintended but positive consequences that we're able to get out of it, and because the extension we got was to complete the project in July of 2021. We had 2 or 3 other activities to wrap up, and we were able to use the Canva to deliver on this one in February and March of 2021. I'll hand over to Dr. Nanima now to give us a rundown of how we actually used it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate the background that you've given, and you have spoken to the aspects of the online course. So I'll not speak about the target group because you have spoken about it, but I'll go to issues of content development, designing the online module, how the module was delivered, engagement in reflective practices, assessments, and conclusion of the course. So in terms of content delivery, development, the biggest challenge was how to get persons who have never used Canva to use Canva. And we're looking at target persons who were not at UWC, who were not students. So that's where the tricky part was. So what we decided is we developed the content. It was about 100 pages in conjunction with the African Committee of Experts. But the question was, how would we deal with it? How would we ensure that the users would be able to take on the 100 pages in a short span of time? That's why we decided to have a course that would be taken over a month, where they would study at their own pace, So the content was reviewed and it was divided into manageable limits that could be engaged each week. Then another aspect in the course of the design and development, or the content development, we also downloaded sources which would put in the course outline, in the course resources folder for them to be able to access. Then for the weekly work, we had documents that were about 20 pages. So they had to read those documents, the 20-page documents for the week, and then answer the assessments that followed. I'll speak about the assessments a little later. In terms of development, we developed a syllabus, and in that syllabus, we gave an indication of the thematic aspects of the course and divided the content, as I've stated, into 4 basic aspects, which were covered over a period of 4 weeks. And those are the chapters that we had to teach. That was Introduction to Children's Rights for the first week, the Africa Human Rights System in the second week, Consideration of Communications in the third week, and the Jurisprudence of the Committee in the 4th week. So in terms of delivery of content, we were systematic from the beginning. We had a first webinar. Before we had the webinar, we decided to work on the issue of granting access. And I must commend Ms. Caroline of CIECT, who was able to help us with the creation of usernames and passwords, which we sent to all the participants. We had about 600 participants. Then the second step was to enable them acclimatize to the program. So we had a webinar where we did a video about the particular eCanva platform that we're going to use. So we spoke to issues such as the overview, how to use announcements, how to use the tab for course resources, how to use discussion forums, how to use tests and quizzes, and how to use tests and quizzes, and then other aspects would be discussed via email. So the first aspect was to have that webinar. Then we also had the discussion forum. It was quite instructive because this was a point where they would be able to ask questions. But with this, we created 4 units under the discussion forum, divided into the week. So the discussion forum, there was a particular unit that would run for the week. So for week 1, for instance, would speak about the introduction to the course. For week 2, something different. So that discussion forum will also help us to engage with the participants. We worked in such a way that that there was at least someone on the platform in the course of the day to answer some of the questions that arose or to give clarity on some of the aspects that the participants had. In terms of assessments, thank you so much. In terms of assessments, we had 5 assessments to be exact, and there were multiple choice questions, and they would do an assessment at the end of every week. So for week 1, they did the assessment at the end of week 1. For week 2, at the end of week 2. So after the 4th week, they had a 5th week to do the final assessment. And in the 5th week, they had the final assessment for the week and the final assessment being the exam for the entire course. We also had an evaluation form that was filled, and it's instructive to note that they indicated 61% said the modules were properly balanced, 69% said they learned a lot about the child rights system, and 52% talked about the Canva platform being friendly. At the end of the course, they were given a certificate of completion, which was signed by the chairperson of the African Committee and Prof. Maria from the Dala Omari Institute. In conclusion, in a few seconds, I would say that eCanva remains a useful tool for community engagement, especially in instances where the units that are using it are not dealing with students, like the Dala Omari Institute at times, which has to deal with participants who are outside the university environment. And the investment of time and resources to this is critical to the university retaining its relevance in instances in public health emergencies such as COVID. Thank you so much. We look forward to your email with questions, and we shall be able to engage further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Robert, Nanima, and Prof. Usang Assim from Dula Omar. We appreciate your presentation.